I don't have a lot this week other than a couple of updates and reminders about what's going on. Um, yeah. So, quick one is earlier this week, the Andrew Weathers reissue came out, and I've been busy packing boxes and everything with that. As did I now have in-person copies of the Enter Ear hand screen printed elements. And I do want to talk about. We also have every copy. The first round of copies gets a unique version of the screen print by Ian Hawke in his kind of series that he's been doing. Really beautiful. That's its own piece as well. That is worth it, I think, for by itself. Individually signed as well. So this is the day before Halloween, or Halloween when this goes up. So we've been talking about how October is so crazy busy and just wild. And yeah, it has been. 3 records. I love how I do this. I feel like kind of like I'm on a green screen. The Spiritual Exit record, or CD, but record album, is doing great, and people are really reacting to it. When people listen to this, they kind of can't believe how good it is. I have more to talk about Spiritual Exit in a moment. The Andrew Weathers album is out. We had, talking about recent things. Oh, I guess I played it last week, the listening party, but I've had even more feedback that was really good. And people are starting to really agree with this idea, not that it's novel, that like using the Bandcamp listening party element might be one of the best things you can do in the face of everything and the sort of limitations of being an internet artist. Yeah, it was really fun. I was just editing this, and I was reminded of something I wanted to say about listening parties. This last week, sometime, decided to try to put my money where my mouth is, or follow through on some of these things I've been talking about with listening parties. And I started doing this thing where I get the email from labels I bought things from. I get the reminder email of, hey, they have a listening party in 30 minutes or whatever. And if I see that and I think it's still going on, I'm just jumping in. I was kind of decrying the fact that this week that like I didn't realize Steve Hauschild had a new record until luckily I read Philip Sherburne's Substack. That was the only reason I would have known about it. And in the past, that would have been a record I would have been completely on top of. And so kind of related to me decrying the state of my discovery patterns, I was doing these listening parties, and I found a really great little gem of a record, nothing like wild or crazy, but just it made me happy. It's called Wind's Gate by John Thayer, and it's on Oral Canyon. Still one of the best record label names ever. A really lovely album of synth, mostly. Great write-up about it too. I don't always notice the bios on records, I probably should, but kind of moving quickly. But I liked it. I like the concept of what Wind's Gate is. I'll put a link and have the cover here. But it was a great example of just click on those listening parts. If you're at your desk, if you're at your home, if you're in your car and you get one of those reminders, just click on it. You never know if you're going to like it. There's ones I was like, no, that's cool. And there was another one where I added it to my wish list but that one I just read in the moment, kind of piped in on the conversation and said, hey, this is cool. And picked it up. It was a really good fit for the moment I was in. Yeah, so you never know. So it's another data point in this sort of like, maybe we should be looking at listening parties more closely. Yeah, so back to 20 minutes ago, Sam. Again, this record is wonderful. and is available now. Officially, I'm shipping them out. It's completely remixed and remastered from the original version, and it is got really interesting twist on the art and the original art. And yeah, it's just a wonderful record. You can grab it now. A shorter run record is this Enter Ear record that we were just talking about. This is my final copies. I'm sending a few to distro, very few to distro. And my copies, that's maybe 10, 12, probably less, copies with they all have the screen print. In fact, my last copy is my only copy that won't have a screen print. This one doesn't have the screen print. So if you are interested in that incredible record, I would pick it up now. Ian, the artist, has a few copies in LA. It's so cool. I can't think of records that are like it, to be honest. I'd love, if you know some, I would love to hear them, to be honest. Yeah, so kind of this whirlwind month. I really didn't want everything to try to come out at the same time, but it's been this interesting cacophony of messaging and trying new things, and some of them working, some of them not, and it's just a cool, if the idea of this newsletter is just kind of the dumb tech bro way of saying it would be build in public, right? Like, talk about what I'm doing and is it working or not working. I got a lot of data points about, and I continue to get a lot of data points about press. Like, I did my most focused, broad, I'm not saying they're good press campaigns, but I doubled down on press just because, again, I want to offer that as a reason to work with me, and get better at it. But I don't think a single record has had a single piece of press. And I'm not doing that as woe as me. I'm doing that as just here's some evidence. I have been getting some radio playlist plays, podcasty things from people who are like hardcore supporters of things I put out, and I always appreciate that stuff. There's something, I think, more powerful about that. And actually, we do know that. I'm telling you, man, this spiritual exit. There was some feedback that people were like very stoked. They were like, "What is this? Thanks for turning me on to it." So, again, when people take the time to listen to that record, it clicks with them. So, interesting stuff. I'm still kind of forming this sort of like, okay, after a year of being really thoughtful about how records are working, what do I think the future is? I'm not completely there yet. There's going to be more tests in November. November, we're going to swing back over to Yield and see what's up there for at least one record, maybe two, trying to get things out, and try different things with Yield. So yeah, I wonder if like the right way to talk about my vision for what we're going to do, like what ought we do as record labels, would be to get some, like, a panel together and say, like, here's my crazy idea. What do you guys think? Or maybe I'll just talk to Brad Rose. I love having him be a sounding board. Yeah, but I also don't want to make assumptions. I have a few more things I want to test and see how they work. But yeah, in terms of growing the garden and not being so obsessed with release dates, that's what I've been trying to convince myself to do, and being less worried about press, like I've been trying to get myself to do. We have these beautiful records, these 3 that came out this month. I'm going to keep pushing them. We have the Modern Folk from earlier this year. We have Dark Year by David Van Alken. All these things are still available and beautiful. We have the Cowrie and John record that's gorgeous. And of course, I really hope people continue to try to take a listen to this. I think this is the Singulars record, Singulars Spate. Wonderful record and worth your attention. I know I can't just sit around and go, please listen to my music and please buy my music. But please listen to my music, please buy my music. my music, their music. On the note of spiritual exit, I'm booking my first show in a very long time. It's coming together very quickly because of my own dumbassery, but on November 8th, which is basically a week from now, right? Yes. At the chapel in Seattle at the Good Shepherd Center, which I consider to be the best room in Seattle by far, especially for stuff like this. We're going to have Spiritual Exit come celebrate the release of this CD. And I got John Swanke, who was just recently on this, did a big long interview with me on the newsletter, whose work I love and I think is a nice complement, complementary balancing to what Spiritual Exit is doing. And yeah, John has such a cool range of like living in the guitar fingerstyle acoustic world, but also so many of his records have these big warm drones that are just phenomenal. But this is a big deal for me because I have not been booking in like 7 years, and I spent years and years and years booking shows, booking my festival, the Debacle Fest, for 10 years. Motor was a monthly event for 5 years or something. That can't be right. I haven't been booking for a long time. Booking kind of stresses me out now, but I'm very, very happy that I was given this day at chapel because it's the sort of thing that like hopefully it'll be a little therapeutic to just have a show, be very low key about that show, and celebrate some cool music with friends. So if you are in Seattle, I would love for you to come out and say hi. Yeah. Please check it out and come out. I'll have all these records available and be stoked to sell them to folks. So grab them if you can. The interior is going quickly. Hope to see folks out on November 8th at the chapel. And yeah, I mean, be kind to yourself, be kind to other people, and I will see you next week.